great one this week, well, which is lucky for me, good for the team.
Tell us about the one-hander in the last quarter. I know you want to spend a couple of minutes on that.
Oh, yeah, no, it was just having a stick. It's a nice humid day and, it just stuck, so it was great.
Now, today was a very important one for the boys. Suddenly you're 8 and 7 and that final 8 position is looking good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've really stuck. I just win from here and to consolidate a spot in the 8, so, each game's as important as that one we just played.
All right, well done. Good on you.
Thanks, Evans. And Steve Paxman, his 157th game and certainly one to remember. Only their third season in the competition, and Port Adelaide, well, if they can keep their best side on the park, getting severe injuries like the one to Gavin Wanganeen, who's out today, of course, and will miss another month, then they might be able to really give a good showing in the September action. Of course, if they lost players like the ilk of Warren Treadway, they probably find him pretty hard to replace.
This makes next week a real big game, KB and Peter, when they take on Sydney here at Footy Park next Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that contest.
I think they'd give themselves a reasonable chance there.
Yep.
Sydney coming home yesterday well against Melbourne, and some of their lesser lights shone through to take the points from the D's. But today it's Powers Day against Essendon. Premiership's no strange to Port Adelaide, but in the AFL, what can they do this year? Today, the Port victorious by 37 points over Essendon at Footy Park. We'll take a break. Back in just a moment.
Hi. Listen, I'm really sorry about what happened. Is there anything I can do to help get your car back on the road?
Well, with Amy, they're taking care of everything.
Quotes?
Done.
Repairs?
Done.
Good quality?
Guaranteed for the life of the car, even if I sell it.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess you don't need me then. Have a nice day.
A free service that takes care of all your post-crash running around. Call Amy now.
You're with Amy.
You can't be selfish. Will I ever see you again? I can't let you go. Let it go.
With Telstra's calling number display, you can choose which calls to take.
Oh, it's Rob. So, am I an auntie yet?
Emma, Gabby had a boy.
Oh, Rob, that's...
We still have tonight.
Great.
To find out how calling number display can make your life easier, call 1800 150 739.
Who are football's top 200 players? If Serge is 182, where is son of Serge? If Trevor Barker is 145, did Kazali fly higher? And if the flea is 120, was he handier than the rat? Find out with the 200 Greatest AFL Footballers series compiled by the country's top sports team. Starting tomorrow, get your free 8-page collector's lift out each day this week. No one gets you closer than your official AFL paper, the Herald Sun.
Here's a family who wants to enhance their outdoor living area and add value to their home with a new deck and garden.
Looks like the clothesline will have to go.
And here's the Mitre 10 specialist.
Well, I'd suggest Jarrah or treated pine that we put a clear finish on it.
From the store that understands it's not just the low price, it's getting the right advice that really saves you money.
Dad, we're going for tea!
What's here?
The Mitre 10 truck!
Every year we go to Stony Point Caravan Park, Lot 12A, right next to the beach. We love it here. Dad puts on his explosive Red Hot Legends of Rock tape, full blast, and people come round to complain.
Oh, g'day, mate. The music, mate.
He reckons it's a great way to meet people. And Dad turns on the charm, and before you know it, they're dropping around every day for a chat and stuff.
Hey?
Kev. That was how we met the Ranger anyway.
Double hopped Carlton Light Bitter. Have a good one.
Come on, guys. See daylight. Robert Harvey kicked the goal.
Off hands behind the opportunist McLeod. Open goal and he's got it. Silvani takes the field.
Hot game.
Cool pie.
It's the only one with sauce.
The AFL pie.
Well, we've seen a couple of upsets in this round, and I guess you'd put that down as one of them. 37 points. Port Adelaide victorious today over Essendon, bringing the Bombers' winning run to an end. Port Adelaide have now won 3 in succession. Goal kickers today, French, the major contributor for the Power. Treadray got 2. They had 11 goal kickers, by the way, for the Bombers. Joe Masiti 2, Heffernan 2, and Steve Alessio also kicked 2 goals. So some pretty happy Port supporters tonight and a pretty happy Port team. Douglas?
No doubt about that, Peter. And I think the big thing too, I think it was 29 scoring shots to about 17 in favour of Port Adelaide. So, as you did mention, 11 goal kicks, a terrific performance by them. And one of the best players on the ground was Fabian Francis. Terrific. There's Mark Johnson, as we mentioned, Peter in the core, has got a great future. There's Chris Heffernan, kicked 2 goals. You know, it wasn't one of his real great games, but still, he has a very bright future for the Bombers as well.
But the big names missing from Essendon, of course, we probably forget Dustin Fletcher out of their defence left a pretty big gap, didn't it?
It certainly did, particularly when you're going to play guys like Barnaby French, who kicked 3 goals for the Port Adelaide side. You've got Treadray down there as well. They've got guys rotating out there. Lade was a very important player. Here's Heffernan once again. And don't forget, Peter, we've touched many a times. You take Hurd, Lloyd, Lucas, Moorcroft and Rial. There's about 15 or 20 goals out of the Essendon forward line. But still, Port Adelaide were fantastic. And as you mentioned too before, Pete, with Wangley out of the side for 4 or 5 weeks is a big blow to the Port Adelaide side as well.
Well, they lifted today, didn't they? This is a good goal from Brewer. Very handy one, that one.
They just used the ball well too, Pete, today. They come out of that back line very well today. And
Franco made a difference.
He did make a big difference back in the side. And he's a quality player. And he always normally finds a target. And as you've touched on, Brewer, not a real big game by him, but still he's a very important player up in the midfield. Here's Barnaby French, you know, with Matty Primus out of the side, he certainly has put his hand up and been a terrific player. And I think Brett Chalmers probably played the best game, of his career for Port Adelaide.
Yes, wasn't bad. We'll never win a store gift, but he contested today. Yeah. He really did. Let's look at the stats now, and gee, the kicks a big margin there, Doug. 208 to 157, although Essendon on top in the handballs.
Yeah, on top of the handballs, and the marks too there, Peter. 91 marks to Port Adelaide to Essendon 47. Free kicks, 19, 14, fairly inside 50. 56 to Port Adelaide, as I said, had 28 or 29 scoring shots to Essendon, only the 17 or 18 what it was.
And free kicks an extra 5 to Port Power. Port by 37 points. How did you see the votes?
Well, it was very hard. I gave my votes. I gave 1 to Steve Paxman. I thought he had a great game in the back line. Kicked 1 goal, did nothing wrong all day. Josh Franco back into the side was terrific. He had 25, 26 touches, used the ball beautifully. But this man, I reckon, has been in sensational form in a half-back flank. His disposal was first class today. 3 to Fabian Francis. Had a great game for Port Adelaide.
Yes, having a terrific season, Fabian Francis from Footy Park. We'll take a break. Back with more in just a moment.
Property buyers. Whether you're buying a home or an investment, the Bank of Melbourne can approve your loan on the spot, in your branch, in your home, in your office, 7 days a week, with low variable rates from 5.9% per annum. Call 131 575. 131 575. The Bank of Melbourne can approve your loan on the spot, 7 days a week. The Bank of Melbourne cuts the cost of banking.
Yes, I am aware of your deadline, but without an engineer's report, no one's going up there. You might be right, mate, but you're not an engineer. Well, I give a stuff. You can't leave any room for doubt. Besides, the health and safety rep could close us down. Of course he'll find out, I can guarantee it. Yeah. Well, that's the way it is now.
Here's what Australia's leading motoring journalists had to say after testing the new Magna 3.5 V6.
Mitsubishi has a head kicker. The silky 3.5 engine matches Commodore's output and outstrips it in power to weight. Mitsubishi has built a V8 killer.
Magna 3.5 V6 feels like a V8. See it at your Mitsubishi dealer now.
It is Mitsubishi.
If you must work, do something you really love. You really love.
Seek, and you shall find.
Hot game. Cool pie.
It's the only one with sauce.
The AFL pie.
Here's a couple who bought a renovator's delight. While they're proud of the breakthrough they made,
Put in some French doors and then pave the courtyard.
not everybody shares their vision. And here's the Mitre 10 specialist.
Let's start with Accent. It's good value, it's our own brand, great range of colours.
From the store that understands it's not just the low price, it's getting the right advice that really saves you money.
You can see it, can't you, darling?
Yeah, it'll come.
Every year we go to Stony Point Caravan Park. Lot 12A, right next to the beach. We love it here. Dad puts on his explosive red-hot Legends of Rock tape, full blast, and people come round to complain.
Oh, g'day, mate. The music, mate.
He reckons it's a great way to meet people. And Dad turns on the charm, and before you know it, they're dropping around every day for a chat and stuff.
Hey?
Kev.
That was how we met the Ranger anyway.
Double hopped Carlton Light Bitter. Have a good one.
He lost the best friend
You remember me?
he never had.
I'm giving the eulogy. What?
David Schwimmer.
Do you want to get some coffee? He's picking up checks.
Gwyneth Paltrow in the comedy premiere The Pallbearer, tonight 8:30 on 7.
It's the One Footy show that has everyone talking.
This is going to be very, very exciting.
These boys know what makes footy fun.
Gosh, Ozzy.
Oh, my
Live and kicking.
You absolute idiot.
9:30 Wednesday on Channel 7.
Port Adelaide has led pretty well all day here at Football Park and defeated the Bombers 99-62.
The 1999 AFL Coca-Cola Premiership season proudly brought to you by Telstra, making life easier. The McDonald's Footy Burger, the double quarter pounder with cheese. Foster's Light Ice for extreme refreshment. And the new Mitsubishi Magna 3.5, the next generation.
And just before we check the ladder, here once again is Bruce.
Yeah, thanks very much, Peter. And Shay, you're smiling, but your old team just got belted.
Yeah, Bruce. Well, it's pleasing to see Port play well, and it's certainly a step in the direction of the finals, and that's probably priority at this stage.
Now, Doug's been carrying on about the injured Essendon players, but yourself, Gavin Wanganeen, Matty Promise, Bowen Lockwood, all these players ready to come back.
Yes, certainly. I would say like Lloydie and certainly Scott Lucas being out of the side is sort of a large chunk of their attack's actually gone, but it'd be fair to say both sides had sort of main players out.
All right, we look forward to seeing you back in the Port Power jumper pretty soon.
No worries, thanks, Bruce.
Okay, right, Doug, let's check the ladder now, and this doesn't include the Bulldogs and Kangaroos, but West Coast beaten, Essendon beaten, the Kangaroos, as I said, Western Bulldogs, we haven't included that. And Port Adelaide now just outside the 8 on percentage. The menu for next week, 15 rounds gone, and we've got round 16. Richmond and Melbourne, St Kilda, Brisbane Lions, Western Bulldogs and Adelaide, Kangaroos and Geelong on Saturday, and 4 other games to complete the round on Sunday. How are you going in the tipping contest so far in season 1999? And that just about takes us out from Footy Park in Adelaide. And of course, the big game at the MCG this afternoon. Douglas, we're all looking forward to that one. And to take us through the replay, it's a very good afternoon to Drew Morford.
Thank you, Pete. Yes, the match today at the MCG between the Western Bulldogs and the Kangaroos billed as the match of the season. And why not? The Bulldogs in great form, having won 7.5 games out of their last 10, and the Kangaroos a massive 10 games in a row coming into this one. With star players all around the field and 2 champion centre-half forwards in Wayne Carey and Chris Grant, and stars everywhere, it was going to be like a finals preview. And of course, with the the West Coast Eagles being beaten on Friday and the Bombers being beaten today, a chance for the Kangaroos to go to the top of the ladder if they could win. The crowd a bit disappointing, 44,000 after all the hype and promotion of the game, but the footy was fantastic. And the position at quarter time today at the MCG, well, the Bulldogs made a great start. 5-1-31, leading the Kangaroos 1-3-9. We're going to pick up the replay tonight in the second quarter, midway through the term, and by this stage, the Bulldogs are leading by 34 points.
Nicky Winmar back out on the ground. The Kangaroos will let one fire them up from Scott Welsh. They certainly need something. Wind again towards Johnson. Out of the middle. It's become a little repetitious. Grant taken high, shrugs the tackle onto the left foot. That is sensational play by Chris Grant. No better answer. Absolutely sensational, and the sign says it all.
Well, it's out of the centre once again. Brad Johnson just quickly onto the boot. This time Mickey Martin getting pushed under the ball, and Chris Grant lets the conversion, lets the silky skills do it all.
Four goals to Chris Grant, 3 to Brett Montgomery. They've been the wreckers in the forward line. Back in the middle, McKernan and Wine. The latter has been outstanding. Scott West gets a bad bounce, but he goes again. Shannon Grant on him, but he gets it away to Garlick. Simon Garlick, a high ball to half forward. The mark taken by Darcy. Luke Darcy plays on. Back to Garlick, he goes again. This is champagne football to Chris Grant, having a shot again, 50 metres out and almost directly in front. Two in the first term, 2 in the second term so far to Grant. 378 in his career.
Sandy, such has been the dominance of Matthew Robbins that one of the best tagging players in the competition over the last 10 years, Robert Scott, has come onto the ground to pick him up.
He's been excellent from the word go, Robbins. Chris Grant has been quite sensational down in the forward line too. Now he's got 5. And this, dare I say it, is turning into a rout.
I had a feeling you were going to say it, dare you? Scotty West just, he's done that move about 3 times already today. Dives on the ball, but he's quickly up and looks around for the handball. The quick give gave it to Garlick, who's had plenty of possession in this match. The impact of Chris Grant continues.
Scott off, Scholl on.
Chris Grant, 5 goals. It's his best return since round 14, way back in 1995 when he kicked 7. Many supporters believed he had lost that confidence in front of goal. Well, I can tell you from what he's showing here this afternoon, he is back in town.
Well, there's no doubt he had lost at Wheels. He was gone for all money early in the season, but as you say, he's turned it around. And talking about turning it around, the Kangaroos have marked only once inside the Bulldogs forward 50, and the Bulldogs have taken an extraordinary 10 marks inside that area.
The dominance from the Bulldogs has been most prevalent all around the ground. Kangaroos trying to work their way back into it. Stevens, he won't give up the ghost. Wine stands his ground.
Body slam.
Well, I told you Anthony Stevens won't give up. He'll have a go at anyone. David and Goliath. Goliath gives it off to Scotty West. He gives it to Rowan Smith. He runs on to 50. He settles. He's already kicked 1. It's faded. 1 goal, 1 to Rowan Smith. Yep, I think it was a free kick.
It's the flying fox off the high turnbuckle.
Mario Milano.
I hate to show my age, boys, but that reminded me of when Big Nick went down that grand final.
The earth moved. They still go at it. Brown and West are in there now with Grant. Watch this. This is cute. Drop short of Garlick. He's had a couple of goes at these, Simon Garlick. Can he hone it in? It's going to fall short. North Melbourne defence are all at sea because King was the only one there. and he goes and thumps it away from himself. Boundary throw in. A lack of torque, a lack of confidence just at the moment in the Kangaroo camp. They have been the leader. 10 consecutive wins under the pump. Johnson, Winston Abraham and Bell all in underneath it.
Maybe
Get it
10
out.
consecutive wins, but this sort of half is not good for the health of their boss, Ron Casey.
Centre bounce clearances for the match. Western Bulldogs are 13-3. Johnson and West have 3 apiece. Dimatina and Wyatt have 2 apiece.
And the scoreboard says the rest. 70 plays 23. Liberatore loses out to Longmire, but the Longmire hand pass is intercepted by Brown. Brown centering towards Dimatina. He's on the wing. This is a very professional looking outfit we're seeing at the moment. Dimatina centering in towards half forward. He wants his high flyers firing, and he usually has them. Bell goes out the back door to Blakey. Blakey off to King. King wobbles it towards half back, but it's put Winston Abraham right under the pump. Scotty West pokes it out wide. Clean bowl Simpson. He's got to go again, and he does. Still not clear. Goes a third time. Gets the hand pass away. Finishes with Blakey. Tumbles it over the head of Longmire and finds the boundary line. And we've got a throw in. But very little let up as far as the Kangaroo defence is concerned.
And now you can just feel that the defenders in the Kangaroo area are just starting to feel the impact of that there. They're unsure of their possessions. They're not giving the first one. There's a few fumbles starting to creep in. They're not far away from just totally collapsing. But we know the strength of the Kangaroos. They will regroup at some stage.
Brown towards half forward. Smith and Winmar are lurking. Winmar, beautiful. Beautifully done, Nicky. Welcome back to the G.
Hello, Dean Felton. Tonight at 6, Louise Asher wins pre-selection in Brighton. Jeff Kennett's preferred candidate beating the Costello-Kroger camp. 2 people dead and 5 badly hurt after a head-on smash near Warburton. A couple's sad reminder of the day their daughter vanished from a late-night train ride 9 years ago. And a storm in the AFL after the league's most experienced umpire takes a mid-game mark. Details at 6.
7 Nightly News, tonight at 6. Here's what Australia's leading motoring journalists had to say after testing the new Magna 3.5 V6.
Mitsubishi has a head kicker. The silky 3.5 engine matches Commodore's output and outstrips it in power to weight. Mitsubishi has built a V8 killer.
Magna 3.5 V6 feels like a V8. See it at your Mitsubishi dealer now.
It is Mitsubishi.
Honey, you sure you know where you're going?
Sweetheart, it's me driving.
You're on the wrong side of the road.
Must be his first time on a bike. Dad! Huh? Who's up for a sandwich?
At Amy, we know there's a lot of bad luck going around. So when you've held a rating 1 for the last 3 years without making a claim, we believe it should be yours for life. So don't be penalised for a bit of bad luck. Switch to Amy now.
Don't you just love this country?
Lucky you're with Amy.
The Bank of Melbourne serves you better. On Saturday mornings, when the other banks are sleeping in, the Bank of Melbourne is open to serve you better. The Bank of Melbourne cuts the cost of banking.
Every day, McDonald's congratulates heaps of McMatch and Win winners. Keep playing and add your name to the list. There are still hundreds of prizes to win.
McMatch and Win Monopoly. Stick around. This is big.
They were a family like thousands of Australians.
It was good, it was happy.
Then 5 children were murdered by their mother, and their father was left to wonder why.
She watched them all die.
Travis breaks his silence on Today Tonight.
Bulldogs stretching the lead well on out. Half-time can't come quick enough for the Kangaroos and Dennis Pagan. But there is still some 6 minutes of play left in the first half. It's been an electrifying 7-goal-3 second quarter to date to the Bulldogs. That equals their best, which was last week up in Sydney on their comeback. This ain't no comeback. This is a runaway at the moment. Dimatina, Shannon Grant, Johnson, all in there.
The dog at the bottom.
Kangaroos are trying to equal their best winning sequence of 11. They've won 11 straight last year, when heading for 12 consecutive wins when they were thwarted by Adelaide in the grand final. Carey, Croft right there with him. Back, McCartney in the forward line. Up into the goal square. That's through from behind, surely. Goal umpire takes it, and a behind to Jason McCartney into the forward line. Has been the cornerstone of the defence. Sits on 49 goals, so I wouldn't mind it. Nathan Brown misses the mark, plays the ball. Winnie Abraham right there with him. Johnson comes in to assist. Could give a free kick away to Simpson. Umpire says no, too much in for everybody to be bounced. Front of the southern stand, Bulldog supporters in fine voice.
Great to see that though, the chase and the persistence of Abraham against this very exciting and talented number 17 in Nathan Brown. Fantastic to watch.
Oof.
He almost copped another one too.
He did.
As he gets a kick down to centre wing, picks himself up though, and the free will be down the ground to be taken by Hudson. Hudson looks up towards the forward line. Pagan probably can't believe there's still about 6 minutes remaining. Someone please blow this half-time whistle.
Glenn Archer's just given away a free kick. He hunted, he chased, and he delivered.
And he's frustrated. The Dogs continue on. Hudson, who's moved to half forward, in trouble. Clever little hand pass. Rowan's in trouble and has got to be pinged. His eyes lit up, I think, when he saw he had the opportunity of kicking his second. Not quick enough. Shannon Grant goes to half back, finds Abraham. Winston's away with a wobbly old puck. Ricochets off the shoulder of Nathan Brown, then comes back to him off the pack. Gives it away to Curley. Todd Curley, an excellent smother by Durkay. Locks it up in the area, but only for a moment. Scott West couldn't take it cleanly. The Roos may get another chance here. Out wide, it passes Robert Scott. Johnny Longmire swings around, looks down towards the 50. The lead is on. The mark's been taken by Corey McKernan. 45-degree angle, a good 50 out. 17 goals this season for Corey, and 138 in his career.
You would suggest that for the Kangaroos to win this, by the end of the day, Corey McKernan would need to have kicked 5, and Carey would have had to have kicked 5, and you just can't see it at the moment.
And the Dogs would have to stop.
Yep.
We've seen a lot of big turnarounds this season, though.
McKernan starting it right, swinging back. Very, very good kick from Corey McKernan. McKernan gets his first. It is only the third for the Kangaroos this quarter. There's still a long way to go. 4-6 plays 12-4.
From the 50, and if that is one of 5 wheels, we are in for one of the best tussles of the season. Sandy, we're due. We have seen the floods. We've seen the pestilence. Let's hope we can see a great game of football.
I know it's Sunday, but that's ridiculous.
Thank you. Corey McKernan gets his first. He was the catalyst for the Kangaroos' come-from-behind win last week. Can he instill something into his teammates here this afternoon? 46 points is the target at the moment as we approach half-time. Jason McCartney, one of 3 players who have already had a go at Chris Grant. Grant, the most dominant player on the field. 7 marks to Grant, 12 kicks and 5 goals straight. Glenn Archer had a tough time last week against Jared Malloy. He's asked to do it again. Longmire, the quick kick out of the contest. Cameron and Scotty Welsh. Leon Cameron this way, that way. Hands on off the West. West off the one step, kicks forward. That's number 19 disposal to West. Byron Pickett cleans on up on the left foot. Finds Simpson. The midfield of the Kangaroos need to generate some forward run. They are the most efficient side in the competition. Just at the moment being forced wide. Archer to centre half forward. That's where they need to attack it. Croft kicks it out of the hands of Curley, so it stays at half forward for the Roos. Scholl with the inside out right foot. Banana has found Bell. Well, they haven't kicked consecutive goals in the game, North Melbourne. They have only kicked 4. But consecutive goals can potentially be a springboard for something. Last week, took a great mark late in the quarter against Brisbane. Fed it off to Anthony Stevens, who kicked the goal. Bell keeps the ball this time and kicks it himself. They've got 5.
Brings it back to a 40-point deficit. Seems a long way, but we know that the Bulldogs, well, we know that the Kangaroos can kick goals in a hurry, but that was an ordinary piece of play by Matty Croft. The fresh air just opened up a way for the Bulldogs to go forward. A smart kick there by Craig Scholl. The Kangaroo, Banana, gets it to Bell.
1 3/4 minutes remaining in this first half. The margin was 53 points. So they're starting to peg it back. Still a long way to go. The wind kick only as far as Blakey at half back. Abraham lurking on centre wing. Liberatore gets it out, however. Brown. Beautiful. Fantastic disposal off to Hudson. Hudson's 55 out. Centering kick. Not going for goal. Putting it out in front. Giving the high flyers a chance. And Brad Johnson doesn't let him down. Play on, Brad. And he does to Scotty West. And there's the quick reply.
I think it's important for the kids to learn violin everywhere. I'm biased in that respect, I suppose. Very good. Excellent.
Through our video conferencing, we now have a violin teacher at the school.
You see that? Telstra helped us and many other schools to set up the links, made it all happen.
When we bring the two groups together, the sound is just fantastic and the experience for the students was absolutely unbelievable.
Telstra's Learn IT program is making it easier to learn, especially about each other.
Time, thanks.
When a lift manufacturer from Switzerland doubled its profits in a tough environment, MLC was there. With the performance of 15 independent investment managers, specially selected from Australia and around the world, MLC can open the door to investment opportunities you've never dreamed of. Isn't that the sort of partnership you're looking for? MLC, working towards your wealth.
Liven up your party with Pizza Haven's Life of the Party Pack. For just $18.95, we'll come round to your place with any 3 large pizzas. So ring now and invite us over.
For your Pizza Haven, call up Pizza Haven tonight.
The one to watch, 7 Nightly News.
But is the guy inside still?
But it's easy to say the story is... Neil, I've been out there.
So what's up?
Like he's gone over the bridge, mate.
Hey, Gibbo, come and have a look at this one.
So we've got her, and we might have a witness.
We all support each other. Yeah, he'll be good. Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, Wes, we got that stuff. We're heading back now.
Did you see the last 5 minutes, though? Oh, tense. Oh, unbelievable.
You gotta be kidding, mate.
And now, as we're moving into the weekend, David Brown.
7 Nightly News.
About 6 weeks.
Raise your glasses. Great design, Angela. Right. The board will love it.
What time's your flight?
Oh my goodness, is that the time already? Oh, excuse me. Could I ask you to organise me a taxi, please, to the airport?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Are you a member, madam?
Is she a member?
Of course she's a member.
Cab charge?
Of course, madam.
Thank you. Airport, thank you. Cab charge?
Win Big M's New Year competition, and you'll celebrate the new millennium in Sydney. Then cross the international date line, and do it all again in Hawaii. If you thought this New Year's Eve was going to be big, imagine doing it twice.
The Bulldogs pouring it on. 8 goals to 4 in the second quarter and the margin 47 points at halftime. Well, there have been some comebacks from about here in other games earlier this season, and I'm sure Dennis Pagan ripped into the Kangaroos at halftime. Let's see if it had any effect. We pick it up at the opening bounce.
The Dogs are 13-5. The Roos are 5-6. They can fire up themselves and the crowd. The Roos with the first 3 or 4 goals. Garlick is ripped off it. Longmire takes it out of the centre. Tumbles a punt down towards the half-forward line. Curley gives chase and he leads Kingsley, but Kingsley's quick and he persists. Gives it off to Carey. The King swings around. He's giving away a lot of ground. Eventually is forced to hand pass to Simpson. Back to Carey. He's almost down to centre wing. Short, but that's okay. And King has got it.
A more conventional setup. Carey at centre half forward. McKernan going to full forward.
Here comes the kick by Carey. It is a beauty, and he finds Gary Durkay. Booted a goal in the second quarter, did Durkay. Chance to get the Roos away to a quick start. Some outstanding performance though for the Dogs in the first half. Some brilliant possession winners. Scotty West, Nathan Brown. Quite outstanding. Durkay from 48 metres. Good kick by Durkay, and he's got his second.
Well, they're going to have to get a real hurry on here, the Kangaroos, if they're going to just be competitive at three-quarter time. They won't, you would think, eclipse this deficit in the one term. It's going to have to be a two-quarter job. But this is the only way they can do it. Everybody's starting to win the ball from the centre and up forward. And Durkay just getting away. Good use of the body there from West. But more importantly, he was converting.
The Kangaroos' best come from behind win was last week. And they had to do it from half-time by 26 points down against the Brisbane Lions. Today the task is a whopping 47. They've got the first of them.
And this is an interesting matchup now. John Blakey has gone on to Chris Grant.
Blakey, away he goes. Second most experienced player in the competition behind Bradley. Croft in front. Carey gets a second go at it. Bell. Grant on the burst. Shannon Grant charges through. Half forward. He's gone long to an open square. It bounces up. It bounces through. 2 in a row to the Kangas. They've now kicked 2 to start the second half and start the long haul back.
And coming off the half-back line was John Blakey. A calculated risk, this one from Dennis Pagan. Grant gets a lot of his possessions at ground level. Whether or not Terry Wallace responds by putting him in the goal square, perhaps to isolate him and utilise his height, we will wait and see. But good work there coming through the middle was Grant. They need an ounce of luck. They got it with the bounce.
Late in the second term, the margin had ballooned out to 53 points. It is now back to 35. Maybe we're going to see a big comeback. Johnson feeling the heat. Longmire, the hand pass, okay. McCartney, the boy from Nil, gets a long bomb inside 50 once again. Curley goes with the fist. He's not out of the danger zone yet. Robert Scott picks it up, gives the hand pass away. Kingsley round the body, bends it back, and the mark is taken over the line or in. No, he's taken it inside the King, and he's going to have a shot. And I would doubt if he could see any space between these two goalposts, such as the acuteness of the angle.
Not a very difficult shot. He's just got to come close to the man on the mark, push out a little bit and snap around the corner.
You make it sound so easy. He makes it look so easy. He's kicked it. Here come the Kangaroos. Whoa!
Well, the Root Boy has certainly given them a bit of a spark. But what they did there was more so than winning the ball up forward. They started it from the middle with Longmire getting the ball out of the centre bounce. It was a handball to running players off the half-back line. And when the Kangaroos are getting the ball into their forward line quickly, it gives a totally different perspective on the match.
Bulldogs were out by 53 points. Since then, the Kangaroos have kicked 5 of the last 6 goals of the game. Bell out of the centre bounce quickly. McKernan centre half forward, Carey again. Most influential in the opening part of the third quarter is Wayne Carey. Scotty West racked up possessions in the second quarter to Garlick. Bulldogs under early pressure. Darcy out in front of McCartney, takes it. Wheels around onto his left, cuts back to his right, balances back on the left again, attacks the goal square. Grant, Blakey, Archer.
Brilliant defensive work there by John Blakey. That is an interesting kick.
He's hit the post.
Well, really, I think the ball has to go back because it hasn't come back into play unless it crosses the line.
The umpire's calling a boundary throw-in here, which I would, if I have got the rule book, it would have taken too much to... No, it's not a point. The point, you can't hit the back of the post.
I don't think the umpire... Well, look.
That's extraordinary then.
The ball has to come into play, and it hasn't done that.
So we need Kevin Bartlett here, a member of the Rules Committee, to verify or clarify. But whatever the case, it's a boundary throw-in. Kangaroos under pressure again, off the ground. Nicky Winmar can't keep it in a boundary throw-in, opposite side.
I've never seen that before in my entire life. Never ever seen this before in my life. I wonder if the umpire has also.
Well, mind you, we haven't seen an umpire mark a ball for a long time.
No, it's been a big round for umpires.
It's all happening. Sunday football, round 15 of football. Longmire does the body work, allows Bell to take the ball cleanly and clearly towards Carey. Croft in front. There's a free kick off the play. Umpire Hayden Kennedy from the far end.
Spotted it. It was Wayne Carey who had a grab of Matthew Croft's jumper. It was good umpiring coming from a long way back and picked it up well.
They say that the third quarter is always the hot one in footy. Well, we've got one now, Sandy.
He was a long way back, Hayden Kennedy, further than Michael Holding on the long run, but he spotted it. But this has been a good start. It's now going to test the Dogs. The metal. The Grant kick straight up and down to Johnson. He's got it on right half forward. Hudson screaming for it down in the forward line.
Well, Dennis Pagan would be filthy on that because Paul Hudson was free for some 30 to 40 seconds, and the Kangaroo players could see that. They were just a little bit lax in getting back onto him.
Paul Hudson has the chance to steady it down. 3 quick goals to the Kangaroos in this second half. Hudson going for his first for the day. He's been one of the leading lights as far as goals is concerned this season for the Dogs, but he's off target. 28 for the season coming into this game. Winmar has 23 prior to today's match. Of course, Nicky kicked one in the second quarter. 30-point ball game. The lights on, an overcast day. Tense crowd, and Pickett coming back in to start the action again. Not a pretty punt. Sandwiched was Shannon Grant at the bottom of that. Nathan Brown is the one doing the sandwiching.
Byron Pickett hasn't been as clean as we've come to expect of him. Some of his disposal today, that one just didn't spin right at all. They need to clear the area better than that.
The Kangaroos just warming up on the boundary line. The bench players. Mick Martin is not there. He must be injured.
Pushed back towards the centre. A little chip comes towards Longmire, but he's going to leave it for the quicker player in King. David King from 50 metres. Slams it in towards goal, but he's away to the right. Trademark run of King. Just unable to capitalise with a goal.
Terry Wallace, Brian Royal, and there's the bench minus Mickey Martin from the Kangaroos. Returned this week after a couple of weeks out with a hamstring injury, so you would suggest probably has reoccurred. Actually did it 3 times last year too, Mickey Martin. So a bit of pressure here for the Kangaroos defence. Archer in front. He'll be the cornerstone of that defence for the remainder of the afternoon. He's been paid to mark. Umpire Brett Allen, he's under all sorts of pressure. He's a bit slow in calling that. He called the controversial one earlier on Archer. Perhaps, just perhaps, he's squaring the ledger. Archer from the wing to centre half forward, looking for his skipper. There he is. Carey's up. Liberatore's in first. Carey comes back again. Harvey on the left foot. Drags it back around to the square. Great kick, great mark. Kent Kingsley in the right spot. Harvey most disciplined with his kick. Been a quiet day. Just some 6 disposals for the E.J. Whitten medalist. Anthony Stevens also just on 7. Key players in the midfield for the Kangaroos. But can they get the first 4 goals of the third quarter? Ken Kingsley's got it for them. The Roos are back.
Come on, guys.
Off hands behind the opportunist McLeod. Open goal and he's got it. Silvani takes up the affair.
Hot game.
Cool pie.
It's the only one with sauce.
The AFL pie.
Yes, I am aware of your deadline, but without an engineer's report, no one's going up there. You might be right, mate, but you're not an engineer. Well, I give a stuff. You can't leave any room for doubt. Besides, the health and safety rep could close us down. Of course he'll find out, I can guarantee it. Yeah. Well, that's the way it is now.
Well, come on, Frank. Blow out your candles and make a wish.
Crikey. A real Falcon 1-tonner with a super cab. Unbelievable. What a donk. Nothing like a big V8. Oh, mate, you couldn't have wished for anything more. Unbelievable.
The new Falcon 1-tonner. It's unbelievable.
What's your secret?
The official AFL footy sauce. White Crow sauce, of course.
As the world changes, so does the way we think.
This technology will overcome current barriers in conducting international business.
Our dreams are now being achieved.
Now, thanks to the automatic translator, we're all speaking the same language.
Whatever you dream of achieving, you can be sure that Energex will be there with you. Today, tomorrow, and for the future.
Property buyers. Whether you're buying a home or an investment, the Bank of Melbourne can approve your loan on the spot. In your branch, in your home, in your office, 7 days a week. The Bank of Melbourne cuts the cost of banking.
It's midnight and there are 6,000 people here.
Oh, now it's whittling as well.
Join me for a new round of bloopers.
Last time, 2 million Aussies gave it the thumbs up.
Look, we're on TV.
Belinda Emmett and Ernie Dingo. All-time greatest bloopers tonight.
23 points, that's nothing now. Scotty Wine sensing this comeback. What can he do?
The centre bouncers just have turned around dramatically. It's been all the Kangaroos in this term. It's been the Western Bulldogs 1, the Kangaroos 3.
And yet in the first half it was just one-way traffic the other way.
Right, you look at Johnny Longmire. He's out there to make a difference. Towards the end of a very good career, John Longmire being asked to do the ruck work. Missed some 6 weeks with a knee injury early in the year. Approaching 200, as is Carey and Stevens. He would love to be there for the Roos.
Still in the middle. Belted towards Johnson. Couldn't take it cleanly. Robert Scott fell over it. Now McKernan falls over the top of the pack. Comes back in again. And there'll be another ball up. From 53 points back to 23 points, and the Bulldog boys on the bench looking concerned.
Yeah, Steve Critiock's still jogging around. Don't think he'll be back on. Steve Powell, Michael Martin and James Cook, who hasn't had a run yet.
Darcy winning it, poking wide to centre win, but picked up by Harvey. He's got the players here, there's plenty of blue and white. A chance for Simpson to send them down towards half forward. Carey lunges at it, can't get it. Bell can't escape, because guess who's got him? Liberatore.
Adam Simpson missed a golden opportunity there. He had Shannon Grant and David King free. Just turned around blind onto his left and bombed it to Carey. It's usually a fair option, but if you've got free players, you've got to use them.
Peter Bell and Tony Liberatore having a good old chat. Simpson around the body. He bends it back, but not enough. Could be kept in play if Curley can get there, but look out, because here comes Carey. He crunches him. Taken over the line as Matthew Croft.
Oh, that's a fair hit. All legitimate, all legal. Wonderful side shoulder bump.
And Paul DiMartina coming back on for the Bulldogs, replacing Nicky Winmar.
Straight on to Welch.
Interesting though, the ball was still in play and he went past the footy to apply the physical pressure.
Wind wins it, but he'll have to go through the motions again. Robbins over the line.
But I'd suggest, Jerry, I mean, that's where they do need to make a difference. Inside the contest, the Bulldogs have been far more aggressive in the first half of the game. It's a different real outfit out there now. Longmire doing the job against Scott Wind. Wind front spot, knocks it down, but well rowed by Scott. Unbelievable piece of work. That is a burst. They have found an extra metre or two, the Kangaroos. Dennis Pagan, hard afternoon in the box. Robbie Scott, through he goes. Gave himself every chance, straightened up very well. Very good player for the Roosters, crossing from Geelong, but Cameron brings it in for the Bulldogs. Kick wide, finds Curley. Some running support there from Johnson. Ignores it first time, ignores it the second time. He's feinted the handball, so that's play on. Tosses it on up high. Wind has to camp underneath it. Very well done, Scott Wind. Flicks it on over the back, but it's all Kangaroos. It's a mob of them. Winnie Abraham into the path of McCartney, under some pressure, but he gets his foot to the ball. It's loose out in the flank. Charging it down is Croft. He's the opponent of Carey. He's done well, Croft, on the left foot. Throws it back from where it comes. DiMartina. Handballs off the Grant, on the burst, out into the pocket, man alone, Montgomery, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bang, goal.
And there's a bloke down there you could thank for that goal who did some fine shepherding in young Robbins, right back on the half-back line.
Yes, it was tremendous physical pressure. You can also thank Matthew Croft, who read it best, left Carey in his wake. Came along, went bang, there was Robbins delivering the physical blow. And Chris Grant coming up with what I think is his first kick of the quarter. Not a bad one, was it?
They needed an answer, the Dogs, and they got it. 10.5 minutes remaining. Wind wins it, but it's King who rips it out of the middle. A long bomb towards Carey. Couldn't quite take it cleanly. He did, however, tap it on. Just didn't quite make it to Kingsley. And the Dogs will clear out towards Johnson. Good interception, however.
Free kick downfield.
Going to get the free kick against Abraham.
It's downfield. I think Carey just went a little extra.
It's a blood rule, I think. It's going to be a blood rule.
Yeah, Tony Liberatore.
Yep. Liver's coming off for a blood rule.
So the kick downfield still stands, I'd suggest, Sandy. That was the contact that was done after the
Johnson will take the kick.
Yep. So Liber off, and Mickey Martin for the Bulldogs is on. So if you were playing poker, you'd have a fair pair today, 2 mix.
We'll ponder that as Abraham this time takes the mark. On right half back, he slips, he loses it. Darcy gives it to Nathan Brown. Brown might make him pay. Long one in towards full forward. Good mark taken by Welch. Maybe even a Cadbury contender as he goes to the outer side and finds Shannon Grant. Grant pops it over the top. They got some run here. The horse can go. And he does. Shrugs one tackle. Looks to the forward line. Carey uses the body. They come charging out. Pushed down in front by Curley. Now he's going to retrieve it himself. Todd Curley goes again. Pokes it wide. Martin's just come onto the ground. Short little chip to the outer wing is going to be okay. Montgomery will steady it down. The hand pass towards Powell. Interception is beautiful by Pickett. Byron Pickett says we're not done with yet. Kicks in towards half forward. King was waiting down. Taken out of it by Robbins. West was there. Couldn't take it. Neither could Cameron. Look at that work. There's going to be a free kick. A free kick going the way, according to umpire Ty Burton. of the Dogs and Leon Cameron.
Once again, another long bomb into the North Melbourne Kangaroo forward line. Rather than just pinpointing a pass, and there were some options.
Brown and Johnson take on Archer and they win out. They give it to Hudson. He's found space at half forward. Runs in closer to goal. Centres the ball to centre half forward. Montgomery's the target again. Couldn't take it this time. Stevens was good in the body work. Montgomery goes to ground. Kangaroos stay upright. Garlick's in there second. In the back, no, says the umpire. Shannon Grant cleans up for the Roos. To the wing, Durkay. Scotty West. West does well enough. That's a boundary throw-in.
And Jared, you just get the feeling this is the surge the Kangaroos are making now. If they are going to do it, things have got to happen in the next 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, what they can't allow to happen, Sandy, is to give up this the amount of work that they have done by letting the Dogs score a couple of times, because it was always going to take a couple of quarters to reel back in the lead. They've done pretty well so far. They've still got to maintain the rage.
So from 47 points the difference at half-time, now it's down to 28. Harvey on the burst, hard along the boundary line. He set one up just previously. This one misses the mark.
Look at Carey.
Matthew Croft.
Well, you would be filthy, because that was a 1 in 100 shot at goal, which Carey was at the top of the square and it should have gone to him.
And here's the rebound. Dimatina on the left foot. Very quickly, it's half forward for the Bulldogs. Hudson, Blakey just goes for space. Bulldogs pair up. Archer, strong and committed. He's got a boundary throw and he's worked it very, very well.
At this stage, I wouldn't think that the Kangaroos have got full value for money for the amount of work that they have expended. They've had the ball inside their forward 50 11 times, and a lot of the occasions it's been pretty reasonably well without pressure, and the Western Bulldogs only gone down there 5. 6 coming up.
Darcy to Brown to Johnson to Curley on the burst. They've got Grant. Didn't carry. Smith, front and square, does it well. On the left, the two-handed drop. I'm not sure about it, but the accuracy's there. Great goal.
It's bonus time in McDonald's McMatch and Win Monopoly with another 2 Honda HR-V Sports. That really beats my old set of wheels. I've got to get out of jail free card. McMatch and Win Monopoly. Stick around. This is big.
I'm gonna miss these glamorous sales calls.
The Medallion Club at Colonial Stadium. Coming soon.
When you're fit, you feel great, you feel alive. But you've got to feel fit on the inside as well. Otherwise, you're only doing half the job. The body needs fibre to exercise the digestive system. Most people don't get nearly enough. But getting fibre can be just as enjoyable as exercise. It can be bananas, sultanas, pawpaw currants, just like the ones in all brand fruit notes.
I need a new source for traditional French porcelain.
We could ship these tomorrow.
Here's what Australia's leading motoring journalists had to say after testing the new Magna 3.5 V6.
Magna Sports is now quick enough to make plenty of hot Holdens and fast Fords look at best pedestrian. Mitsubishi has a head kicker. Mitsubishi has built a V8 killer.
Magna 3.5 V6 feels like a V8. See it at your Mitsubishi dealer now.
It is Mitsubishi. If you thought you'd seen the best practice yet,
Think again.
They found the nun's body in a closet. She was stabbed 30 times.
How would you feel?
You can't force us to take this case.
Go defend him.
If it was your job to help a ruthless killer walk free?
We might be able to suppress the chopped up nun.
I don't really want to.
You think I do?
A powerful practice.
If you were in my position, you'd do. I would never be in your position.
Tuesday on 7.
We're back to a 34-point margin. Big goal in the context of this game by Rowan Smith. Brown gives it away once again. Powell gets a high, hurried kick down towards Garlick. It's on left half forward. There's a free kick being picked up. It's going against Garlick. A little bit of holding picked up. Kangaroos, though, want a couple now. Time ticking away in this third quarter. Harvey is caught, dodged a couple, now has lost it to Powell, gives it across to Southern. Danny Southern's almost down to centre wing. Another hand pass. That was to Garlick, back to Brown. They are relentless. He surges forward. Centering kick is spot on. Martin has got it.
And Brent Harvey paying the price for not keeping it basic. Off you come. He's been dragged for trying to do too much with the football. He had an opportunity down at the other end of the ground, and there, prior to this turnover, he had 2 chances to kick the ball long, but he wanted to beat the 2 players.
And straight on the phone too, Jared. And I bet you Dennis Pagan is saying exactly what you just said.
49 metres the margin. Big kick, big goal.
Well, this is a rough and tumble season for all players, but Brent Harvey was the toast of the town some 4 or 5 weeks ago. He was the best player on the ground in the state of origin, and yet since that time really hasn't put it together, just been doing it spasmodically, and now he's been dragged for a couple of indiscretions.
So for the 9th time this season, the Bulldogs have put 100 points on the scoreboard, and we still have 6 minutes of the third quarter to go. Brent Harvey ponders. What should have he done? Pagan knows what he should have done and isn't happy. Scotty West at the bottom of the contest. West continues to rack up possessions, a little quieter in this term, 22 to date. Anthony Stevens, his opponent, still stuck on 7. Bounce. Wind and Longmire. Wind, number 2 in the contest, at getting balls out of there, and you can see why. Big, strong man, Powell. Johnson runs on it. He loves these ones. These are routine for Brad Johnson. Boy from Hoppers has done it again.
Yes, and that's just about the ball game. You would think the Kangaroos won't have another effort like they've expended, and the Kangaroos have failed to take advantage. The Bulldogs have been strong enough. They've been able to withstand the pressure, and despite having Scotty West nullified somewhat in this term, they have been able to get enough goals.
Well, just when you thought the Roos were coming back, each side has booted 4 goals in this quarter. Nathan Brown, well, good interception, and he's not going to see any of the football on this occasion because Robert Scott charges from 50 metres, kicks long in towards full forward, but it slews off the side. It's wide. Cameron gives chase. Bell's after him. Pressures towards the line. Kept in play by Robert Scott, but only for a moment. Pouncing on it was Dimatina. Paul Dimatina, 7 kicks, 7 hand passes and 3 marks. Longmire and Wine. Brown, geez, he had a game and a half. Nathan Brown, 11 kicks, 12 kicks and 5 hand passes. Been very, very effective. Anthony Stevens, pretty well held today. That mark could have been taken. Instead it was bashed down and taken by Scholl. Here's Scotty Wine, may come undone anyway. Johnson almost kicking in danger. Robbins in trouble, gets the hand pass away. They're still surging forward. Hudson's got it down to Darcy. Darcy's inside 50. Which way's he going to go? He wants Grant at the back. He was there, ready and waiting, but he wasn't allowed to get out.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Adam Simpson has done a pretty good job on Scotty West since going on to him at half-time. He's really closed him down, and he's finding it hard, Scott West, to find the Sherrin, and that's something he does in his sleep.
Libba appears to be okay. Archer. Rowan Smith has it pelted out by Stevens. Robbins leads in the race. Stevens has got him. Fierce was Anthony Stevens. He's going to head back to the bush at the end of his footy career, and it's not over yet for the little number 10. Look at that
there, Matthew Robbins. The push came to shove, and it should have been a free kick.
Wine and Longmire. Longmire wanting front spot. Could have been held. The horse on half-back. Accentuating it and picked up by the man in white. Down towards half-forward. Curley read it better than anyone. Todd Curley at half-back with 3.5 minutes remaining. His side at the moment in control.
What a pickup this man's been, Todd Curley. Every game last year, every game this year. After spending time at Collingwood, he's been very good in defence for the Bulldogs. And this man here, the skipper, big Scotty Wine, off to Robbins, on the right foot, into Grant. Been quiet since early in the game. Had 5 goals up at half-time. Smith, pressure from Welsh.
And I think they're the ones that are really hurting the Kangaroos, as well, in particular Matthew Robbins, but the 2 bonuses for the Bulldogs this season have been a couple of unknowns. Robbins is starting to come into his own in the last half a dozen weeks, and Stephen Powell has given them another player that has been just a magnificent midfielder for most of the year.
2 goals won this afternoon to Rowan Smith. Accuracy is generally with him. It eludes him just at this stage.
Sholoff, Mooney on for the Kangaroos. Libba still sideline.
And as good as John Longmire's been this quarter, I think it's just about time they need to get Corey McKernan on the ball.
Richard Osman on the boundary line. David King with the football. And just a couple of minutes remaining in this quarter. McCartney having to beat a couple. Brown held it a long time before giving it to Montgomery, off to Martin. He wants Powell. He's got him. He's still got him. 47 metres from home. Great looking kick. Wonderful goal.
Hello, Dean Felton. Coming up next in 7 Nightly News, the Battle of Brighton ends with a pre-selection win to Small Business Minister Louise Asher. 2 people dead and 5 badly hurt after a shocking road smash northeast of Melbourne. The grim anniversary of Sarah McDermott's disappearance. Her grieving parents still searching for answers after 9 years. New homes for scores of pets at the RSPCA's Adoption Day. And the AFL's most experienced umpire leaves his mark on the game. Details next.
Come on, guys.
Off hands behind the opportunist McLeod. Open goal and he's got it.
Silvani takes it.
Hot game. Cool pie.
The Great Southern Pie, the only official pie of the AFL.
Magnum Ego. Premium vanilla ice cream. Wickedly coated in layers of chocolate and caramel. And now, Magnum Ego multi-packs. A box full of temptation from Streets.
Boss, I'm sorry. I just forgot. You know, it was only a little ad. It's not like it's the end of the world or anything, is it?
The Yellow Pages directory is closing for advertising now.
Every day, McDonald's congratulates heaps of McMatch and Win winners. Keep playing and add your name to the list. There are still hundreds of prizes to win.
McMatch and Win Monopoly. Stick around. This is big.
Right now, your nearest mobile net dealer is holding 3 of a kind, including the Philips Savvy for just $49 on a mobile net value 10 or value 15 plan. Or how about the Panasonic G520, exclusive to mobile net at just $49. That's a $30 saving. And also at $49, you can grab the Motorola Jazz DB. At that price, you can afford to double up. Head to your nearest mobile net dealer for these great deals. They're one of a kind.
He lost the best friend
You remember me?
he never had.
I'm giving the eulogy. What?
David Schwimmer.
Do you want to get some coffee? He's picking up chicks.
Gwyneth Paltrow in the comedy premiere The Pallbearer, tonight 8:30 on 7.
Now the affair's over, it'll take just one little thing.
Stop bumping me.
Don't you push me. 7's Ally McBeal, Monday.
Well, the match of the season wasn't quite supposed to be like that. The Dogs in a canter by 42 points and they kicked their highest score of the season, 23 goals 12. Chris Grant had his best goal-kicking day for years. He got 6, Montgomery 4, Smith kicked 3, and for the Kangaroos, Durkay 3, Shannon Grant, McKernan and Carey each kicked 2.
The 1999 AFL Coca-Cola Premiership season, proudly brought to you by Telstra, making life easier. The McDonald's Footy Burger, the double quarter pounder with cheese. Foster's Light Ice for extreme refreshment. And the new Mitsubishi Magna 3.5, the next generation.
Well, it was a bit of a surprise. Let's go and find out what the coaches had to say. And firstly, here's Terry Wallace.
Yeah, look, I think just it's a day where we got first hands on ball, and I suppose like any day in football, that if you find yourself chasing rather than actually starting, you can end up getting onto that merry-go-round pretty easily, and focus sort of then goes out. But I thought our midfielders did a job. I think our midfielders last time we played them were good in the first half, and then they took absolute total control in the second half when we lost to them late last year. And I think a few of our guys had a bit of a point to prove that they could match it with the best in the competition, and I thought they did that today.
Oh, we're pretty disappointed today. We didn't play well. We had a lot of good players down, and the Bulldogs were played with a far more greater passion and spirit than we did.
How do you rate the Dogs after today?
Yeah, they're an excellent side. We knew that before the game. We knew it was going to be exactly like that. We just weren't equal to the occasion today.
Centre break's a bit of a nightmare, Dennis, today.
Yeah, we were thrashed out of the centre, especially early. I thought John did what we wanted him to do in the second half, but their midfielders really cut us apart.
Let's have a look at the ladder. An amazing round where the top 3 sides were all beaten, and the Bulldogs closed to 1.5 games behind them. Port Adelaide, despite their win today, are still outside the 8 because Sydney and Carlton both won, but an evening up of the competition in this round. Next week, and we go round again. Everyone's played everyone once now, and Richmond and Melbourne at the MCG on the Friday night. St Kilda will try and make up for the 89-point loss to the Lions in the opening round. It's the Dogs and Adelaide, Kangaroos and Geelong, and 4 matches on the Sunday, and we get down to the Western Derby over at Subiaco Oval, where the West Coast are coming off a loss and the Dockers are coming off a win. That'll be interesting. Also, Carlton and Essendon at the MCG next Sunday will be a huge game. Well, that's the completion of 15 rounds, so every team's played everybody else, and we start again next week. Hope you enjoyed the program tonight. Good night to you all.
The 1999 Coca-Cola AFL Premiership season. Proudly brought to you by WorkCover, Bank of Melbourne, the AFL Pie, Big M, and Energex.
100% Hits 28. The biggest stars and the hottest new music. 100% Hits 28. It's everywhere. Get it now.
You get a feeling down in your soul all the time you sense that total control. I know you say, whoa, 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 yes indeed.
The National Gallery of Victoria site on St Kilda Road is now undergoing a major redevelopment. From October 1999, you'll be able to visit our magnificent collection at our new gallery, the National Gallery of Victoria on Russell.
Oh, Scotty,
Everything just keeps going up and up. Look at all this. Whatever happened to good old-fashioned value?
I've just eaten it. Life's good value when it's crunchy.
This is Colin Wheeler. Colin's an ordinary soccer player, lousy cook and hopeless dancer, but Colin is really good at tax. He's seriously A-grade. Here he's poring over a complex capital gains issue to find every possible claim for his client. There are people just like Colin in 350 H&R Block offices Australia-wide. H&R Block, the best people in tax. That's our claim.
Seven Nightly News with Dean Felton.
Victory for Louise Asher in the battle for Brighton. 9 years on, tearful pleas for answers to a missing daughter. And the umpire on the ball when he shouldn't be. Good evening. Also tonight, John Howard beefs up for a trade battle in the US. But first, the bitter pre-selection battle for the Liberals' safest seat, Brighton. Kennett-endorsed Tourism Minister Louise Asher has emerged victorious. The Premier's welcomed the selection and an elated Ms Asher says she's honoured. But behind the scenes, the bitterness sparked during the campaign is far from over.
The day of reckoning, and first to arrive at Liberal Party headquarters, Mitch Fifield, advisor to Peter Costello, backed by him, and Liberal power broker Michael Kroger.
Good morning.
Next, Small Business and Tourism Minister Louise Asher, the Premier's choice.
I'm trying to get through here, please, sorry.
Stockbroker Michael Heffernan also threw his hat into the ring.
Very confident.
Outgoing Brighton member Treasurer Alan Stockdale was giving little away.
I think I got really well done.
In 2.5 hours, it was done. Louise Asher winning resoundingly at the first ballot.
I'm just delighted and honoured to have been pre-selected as the party's candidate.
Ms Asher says her victory illustrates the rejection by the party of tactics used to undermine her during the campaign, her single marital status and so-called non-traditional relationship with National Party MP Ron Best have been the subject of complaint.
My personal life is rather uneventful. I'm a single woman and I go out with a single man. I mean, this is not something that scandals are made of.
This contest has been characterised by a bitter feud between Premier Jeff Kennett and the Kroger-Costello camp. In the end, it was the Premier's preferred candidate who won the day. The Premier's welcomed Ms Asher's win. In a statement, Peter Costello too wishes her success, noting, however, his preferred candidate had always put the party first and would continue to make a fine contribution.
Wish you all a very good day.
Nicole Chavastek, 7 Nightly News.
Prime Minister John Howard has power walked around Washington, fighting fit for his looming showdown over lamb tariffs. And he's being urged to up the ante by raising defence agreements to force a US backdown.
John Howard limbered up for his looming talks with Bill Clinton over the crippling US decision on our lamb exports with a brisk walk past the White House, where he'll confront the US President. The Prime Minister passing at least one big beef-eating local as he took in the Washington Monument and Lincoln Memorial.
How are you?
But while Mr Howard pondered what he'll say to the President, back home, his new Trade Minister, Mark Vaile, was ratcheting up the pressure on the US. Mr Vaile has questioned whether Australia ought to be helping America in conflicts like the Gulf War if the US continues to treat us as a trade enemy. He says Mr Howard should put that question to President Clinton.
They're the sorts of issues that the Prime Minister will raise in general discussion.
But in Tokyo last week, Mr Howard ruled out linking our military alliance with the US to the decision on lamb.
Well, it's obviously not going to have any implications for our security relationship. Of course it doesn't.
Mr Vaile's also suggesting Australia should retaliate against the US by refusing to lower our own trade barriers any further. The US action on lamb has been driven by the politicians in Congress here on Capitol Hill. And in the rundown to a presidential election in which Mr Clinton's deputy, Al Gore, is the Democrat front-runner, Mr Clinton won't risk a voter backlash simply to please John Howard. In Washington, Glenn Milne, 7 Nightly News.
2 people have been killed and several others badly injured in a shocking accident near Warburton, northeast of Melbourne. Chaos greeted emergency service officials arriving at the scene of the accident on Woods Point Road. A Toyota Cressida and a Toyota Crown had collided head-on. 2 women in the Cressida died instantly and 5 others were seriously injured. Fire crews had to cut free several people trapped in the tangled metal. 2 critically ill patients, a middle-aged man and woman, were taken by air ambulance to the Alfred. 2 other badly injured people went to Maroondah Hospital and 1 to Box Hill. Rescuers say it's amazing anyone survived.
It's certainly a serious accident, and it is one of the worst accidents for a number of months that I've been to.
Those killed were middle-aged women from South Melbourne. Their names haven't been released. The cause of the crash isn't yet known, although conditions were slippery and visibility poor. The family of missing woman Sarah McDermott have again appealed for public help on the 9th anniversary of her disappearance. Homicide detectives have revisited the case on numerous occasions, but they've exhausted all their leads on Sarah's fate.
Peter McDermott, his wife Sheila and son Alistair today braved mist and rain to lay flowers at Kangaroos railway station, where 23-year-old Sarah disappeared on this day 9 years ago.
It's not very pleasant to think that your daughter should meet what may possibly have been her end in a place like this.
Sarah was returning from a regular midweek tennis match with friends when she was attacked in the station car park. The only clue left behind was a pool of Sarah's blood next to her small red sedan. Within days of the disappearance, a task force was set up and hundreds of hours spent searching bushland and coastline. Despite their efforts, police are no closer to solving the mystery, which has become one of the state's most baffling murder investigations. Even though 9 years has passed, police say the Sarah McDermott file is as active as it was on day one, and detectives remain hopeful of receiving that one phone call which will ultimately solve the crime. The McDermotts, who travel from Brisbane each year on the anniversary of Sarah's disappearance, say they won't rest until their daughter's fate is known.
That's all it takes, is someone to think, God, I'll help them. One anonymous phone call.
So that they can get the guts or whatever it is they need to make that phone call.
Peter Morris, 7 Nightly News.
The AFL's most experienced umpire has leapt into football's history books, taking the Saints clash at Subiaco last night. It's brought Peter Carey infamy, and tomorrow he faces an AFL inquiry.
This is the mark that's put umpire Peter Carey in the hot seat and sent commentators spinning.
That is I've never seen that.
I've never ever seen that.
I have never ever seen that. He actually thought he was a player then. There's no doubt about that.
He had a vision.
Carey by name, Carey by nature.
Just a few seconds and he leaped his way into AFL history with his very own stat. The end of the first quarter, the senior umpire still in disbelief. Dockers coach Damien Drum furious. Carey's head was still shaking when he arrived home in Melbourne, bound by his contract with the league, the starring man unable to comment.
No, nothing. No. Good luck to Peter. Any of the other blokes would have sort of tried to get out of the way and made fools of himself. He just said, well, I'm here, I got caught with my strides down. But Peter, if I'd have taken that, you'd have called play on. You didn't hold it, mate.
But it's no laughing matter at the AFL. Director of umpiring Peter Schwab angry and wanting to know why Carey marked the ball.
In fact, to me, it almost looked as though he rose to take the mark rather than trying to run out of the way or duck out of the way of the ball.
Last night's clash was umpire Carey's 299th game. The question now is, will he make his 300th? That depends on the outcome of tomorrow's AFL investigation. Jennifer Adams, 7 Nightly News.
Entertainer Sir Elton John is recuperating at his home in the south of France after surgery for a heart pacemaker implant. He's under doctor's orders to rest until the end of next month.
Just 24 hours after being fitted with a pacemaker, the star left hospital saying he was in good spirits.
I feel very well. I'm a bit stiff, a bit sore, but everything went really well.
Sir Elton John's health has been the subject of speculation for several days after he cancelled a series of scheduled concerts and appearances. Pop star Victoria Adams of the Spice Girls and footballer David Beckham, who arrived back from honeymoon today, had been expecting him to sing at their wedding in Ireland last weekend, but he was too unwell.
Initially I thought I had sunstroke, then I thought I had a middle ear infection, and I was on the plane going to David and Victoria's wedding on Sunday, and I was taken to a clinic in France. So we came back that night, and then all this week I've had tests. Went back to France on Thursday with the all clear, and then I was on the tennis court, and David came down and said, you know, you've got to stop playing tennis, you've got to go back immediately, and it was a shock.
Sir Elton was driven away from hospital, saying he hoped life would return to normal as quickly as possible.
After the break, a mercy dash to the South Pole and orphaned pets out to impress adoptive owners.
He's a six-figure con man.
I'd describe him as a con artist.
Who's ripped off a pensioner's entire savings.
I don't know why I paid him.
See us unmask this callous crook.
He is cunning, he knows how the law operates.
Australia's Most Wanted, Monday.
Where's the water?
Falcon Ute. It's unbelievable.
Who are football's top 200 players? If Serge is 182, where is son of Serge? If Trevor Barker is 145, did Kazali fly higher? And if the flea is 120, was he handier than the rat? Find out with the 200 Greatest AFL Footballers series compiled by the country's top sports team. Starting tomorrow, get your free 8-page collector's lift out each day this week. No one gets you closer than your official AFL paper, the Herald Sun.
The National Gallery of Victoria site on St Kilda Road is now undergoing a major redevelopment. From October 1999, you'll be able to visit our magnificent collection at our new gallery, the National Gallery of Victoria on Russell.
London, Paris, New York, Rome.
Explore the world's great cities on a budget.
I'm going to let you in on some of those surefire money savers.
The Great Outdoors is back, Tuesday on 7.
Police and protesters have clashed outside the headquarters of mining company North Limited after anti-Jabiluka activists tried to set up a tent embassy in front of the building.
I'm just standing on a nature strip peacefully here. Why am I being harassed? Why am I being harassed?
Scuffles broke out when police tried to clear the footpath of chairs, signs and other provisions the protesters had brought to erect a World Heritage Embassy outside North's entrance. The group plans a week-long peaceful vigil outside North to protest uranium mining in Kakadu National Park. Police have defended their hard-line tactics, saying the protesters have refused to cooperate despite repeated discussions. 2 American aircraft have carried out a mercy mission to the Antarctic to drop potentially life-saving drugs. They're needed by a woman with breast cancer who can't leave her base for months.
A US Air Force C-141 Starlifter on a mercy mission to the South Pole. For its crew, a gruelling 10,000-kilometre, 14-hour round trip. Aboard, 2 ultrasound machines and anti-cancer drugs for a female scientist with a lump in her breast. She's stranded at the pole until October, when the brutal winter breaks. Also on the mission, a fully laden KC-10 tanker aircraft. Its job, to refuel the Starlifter in mid-air. The American South Pole base is 1,200 kilometres from any other people. In spite of the cold and dark this time of year, the Starlifter's crew was confident of finding it. 2 complete sets of medical gear are being dropped in case of damage. Staff have just 5 minutes to pick it up before it starts to perish in the cold.
It's Pet Adoption Day at the RSPCA, and dozens of the luckier orphaned pets left the kennels for a permanent home with their new adoptive owners.
Welcome to Pet Adoption Day, or a day where youngsters get to play with each other. All eyes are on these little pups who put on their show that will hopefully bring them a home. Straight away, this 3-month-old Pitbull Rhodesian Ridgeback Cross has his eyes on the Johnstons from King Lake.
We've got another dog at home who's a bit lonely for a friend, and this could be the friend.
The cats weren't as boisterous, but just as loving, with plenty of admirers and willing owners. Aaron and Helen have already named this boy Shepherd.
So what are you going to do with him when you get home?
I'm going to feed him, take him for a walk, then play with him.
Or maybe Shepherd will walk Aaron. Sally Young, 7 Nightly News.
And Sunday night sports next with Mark Beretta. And Mark, the Doggies end the Roos winning streak.
Yeah, they sure did, Dean. After 10 straight wins, the Kangaroos were completely savaged by the Western Bulldogs at the MCG. The Doggies were outstanding in their 42-point demolition of the Roos. Chris Grant again led the way, booting 6 for the winners.
A finals-type atmosphere certainly put the spring in Brett Montgomery's step. The Bulldogs taking total control of the footy, booting 5 goals to 1 in a scintillating opening term. There was little Dennis Pagan could do, the Kangaroos' defence under all sorts of pressure, and the ferocious Bulldogs' forward line seizing every opportunity.
Goal number 9.
The Roos showed glimpses of brilliance, but 5 first-half goals to Chris Grant had the Bulldogs 47 points up at the main break.
That is sensational play.
The Kangaroos began the third term full of running, 4 goals to start the quarter, bringing them right back into contention. But the Bulldogs were able to ride the bumps, goals to Rowan Smith.
The accuracy's there.
Then Brad Johnson putting the result beyond doubt.
These are routine for Brad Johnson.
Facing their first defeat in 11 matches, the Kangaroos' frustrations boiled over. The Bulldogs savage in their 42-point win.
And has done it.
I think a few of our guys had a bit of a point to prove that they could match it with the best in the competition, and I thought they did that today.
Stephen Litherland, 7 Nightly News.
Port Adelaide has moved to within percentage of the top 8 after a 37-point upset win over Essendon at Football Park. Barnaby French was Port's top scorer, booting 3, while Masiti, Heffernan and Alessio booted 2 each for the Bombers. Missing forward Matthew Lloyd, Essendon was thrown under pressure early.
Good goal by Franco, he bends it around.
More trouble for the Bombers, Hardwick carried off with a twisted knee. A brilliant Chalmers handball set up Paxman, who pushed Port further ahead.
Just gets his kick in, kicks through for a goal.
The lights went out for Nathan Eagleton after a heavy knock. When Alessio snapped, the Bombers were on the way back. But Treadray kept the power on course with a massive kick, up by 15 points at half-time. Treadray made his own luck.
Yeah, Treadray, good mark.
The Bombers 3 goals down at three-quarter time. Essendon lacked in the marking department, but there was nothing wrong with Port's skills. The home side taking a 37-point win. And St Kilda's David Serakowski is out for the rest of the season after tearing a patella tendon in his knee during the Saints' 23-point loss to Fremantle last night. Serakowski is the 8th player to injure his knee in Subiaco's notorious cruciate corner. He'll fly back to Melbourne on Thursday for surgery.
I was caught in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and it's twisted, turned, and I've tried to go the other way, and unfortunately the whole thing's just exploded.
West Coast, Essendon and the Kangaroos still hold the top 3 spots on the ladder despite all having losses this weekend. Then it's the Bulldogs, Brisbane, St Kilda, Sydney and Carlton rounding out the 8. Scott Cummings still has a big lead on the goal kickers table from Tony Modra. And in the VFL, the winners were Preston, Frankston and Springvale. Still to come, the Storm back in the Premiership hunt. Aussie Stuart O'Grady closes in on the Tour de France lead and all the day's V8 action.
They were a family like thousands of Australians.
It was good, it was happy.
Then 5 children were murdered by their mother, and their father was left to wonder why.
She watched them all die.
Travis breaks his silence on Today Tonight.
You get a feeling down in your soul all the time you sense that total control. I know you say, whoa, 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 yes indeed.
Let's see. What rhymes with footy?
I reckon blockbusting tackles rhymes with footy.
So does ground-shaking collisions. And a bullocking run. Sidestep. Go, son. Brilliant. Gutsy. Get him. Magic. They all rhyme with footy. Oh, awesome try. You don't need fancy words to describe league by.
Singapore Airlines' new Raffles class. Business in a class of its own.
Axeman, ready. 1.
My family's been chopping firewood for over... When it comes to building a great fire, nothing beats the winning combination of wood and new briquettes. Briquettes burn up to 3 times longer, yet cost about the same price as firewood. Which means you can save up to 70% on your fuel bill and not be always refuelling your fire. So for cheap heat that can't be beat, try a bag of new briquettes, available at your local retailers now.
The sale to end the century continues at Bob Jane T-Marts with amazing specials like Bob's Olympus tyre and wheel package for only $695. Remember this catalogue? The fantastic offers are still available on famous brand tyres, wheels and batteries from Bob Jane T-Marts.
Thanks, Bob.
This sports segment brought to you by Commodore Series 2.
Scott Colin Montgomery has climbed amongst the favourites for this week's British Open at Carnoustie after taking a 3-shot victory at Loch Lomond. Montgomery secured his first title on home soil with a final round 64. Robert Allenby, the best of the Aussies, finishing 8 off the pace. It was a charge up the leaderboard of Braveheart proportions, Montgomery firing 9 birdies in 12 holes from the 5th. Overnight leader Lee Westwood's chances were lost in the Scottish undergrowth. 19-year-old Sergio Garcia shot a final round 68 to share second. But Monty's 64 sealed a 3-shot win, a big boost going into the British. Stage 7 of the Tour de France and Cipollini and Steeles had plenty to discuss from the previous day. Devilish luck for Sable on the way to the line cleared the way for Cipollini, the Italian becoming the first man in 69 years to win 4 stages straight. Stuart O'Grady finished second to be third overall, 34 seconds behind the yellow jersey of Jan Kursipu. And after scores were locked at 0-0 at the end of extra time, the Women's World Cup soccer final between the US and China went to penalties. With the president looking on, Brandy Chaston scored to give America victory 5-4 in front of 90,000 ecstatic fans. Holden's Garth Tander has become the youngest ever Shell Championship Series winner with a victory at the Queensland Raceway this afternoon. The 22-year-old West Australian won the round with a 2nd and 2 third placings.
Australia's newest track, virtually guaranteed drama. Dick Johnson's Ford broke a tail shaft on the warm-up lap, a blessing in disguise as the field hit the first turn.
Yellow car, mayhem.
Russell Ingall led all the way to win race 1, followed by the other Commodores of Garth Tander and Craig Lowndes. Pole sitter John Bauer with tyre trouble was a disappointing 11th. The Holdens again dominated race 2, in particular Garth Tander. The young Perth driver was heading for a big debut victory when the rain came. He missed the restart to finish 3rd behind Ingall. Craig Lowndes first.
He takes out race 2.
But Tander had his revenge in an incident-packed race 3. Passing was always going to be difficult on this track, but John Bauer did his under a yellow flag to grab the lead. He was disqualified, handing victory to Tander for the first time in his career. And world champ Mika Hakkinen has secured pole for tonight's British Formula 1 Grand Prix. It's the 6th pole of the year for the Flying Finn. German Michael Schumacher is 2nd on the grid, while Damon Hill, in possibly his last GP, qualified 6th. Giro Sen, 7 Nightly News.
The Melbourne Storm is back in NRL Premiership contention after beating off a Canterbury fight back at Stadium Australia last night. The Bulldogs were down 24-8 with 7 minutes to go, but bit back. The Storm holding off the attack to win 24-20. Still without several of their stars and in the midst of a form slump, the Storm were out to stamp their authority early.
From Ross to Geyer.
Melbourne continually pushed forward, reaping the rewards as they went out to a 24-8 lead shortly after half-time.
Will score this time.
But Canterbury mounted another of their famous fightbacks. 2 tries in 2 minutes, getting them within 4 points. The Storm managed to hold on, their season back on track with a 24-20 victory. The Australian Barbarians defeated New Zealand 33-24 in their union clash at Olympic Park last night. Matt Burke's 23 points likely to see him in the starting lineup for the Aussies Test match against South Africa next week. And Kenyan Fred Kiprop has won his 2nd Gold Coast Marathon, crossing the line in just over 2 hours and 14 minutes, well outside Rob D. Costello's all-comers record. Japan's Hiromi Igarashi was the first woman home in 2 hours 35. And doing that is all our weekend sport.
OK, thanks a lot, Mark. A check now of last night's Tats Lotto draw. 11 winners share Division 1, $233,650 each. $4,049 in Division 2, down to $14.25 in Division 5. In Super 66, one lucky winner gets the Division 1 pool of just over $226,000. The weather for the working week is next, along with our 7-day forecast.
Next. Our winner is... It's the Animal Gala event of the year. So who will win the first ever Paws Awards? Harry's Practice is next.